All right. This is S.J. Anderson here. Welcome to a video about the Aries ingress. And just a quick preliminary, my editing software has caused problems again. And so I am now back on this kind of old school, more academic approach where we're going to look at charts. I'm going to share screen. I'm using Zoom to record here. But this video will be about the Aries ingress, what I think about the sun entering Aries, and what some of the astrology is saying. So stick around. And thanks for being here. So first off, yeah, and the other thing is that it's going to be a little bit less formal in terms of the quick editing and the really tight edits and stuff. This is going to be more me, loose, relaxed, and live, and just teaching from the charts. And we'll see how this model goes. And I don't know with my computer. I'm going to try to work on it, try to get that upgraded or somehow fixed to where I can do some editing. But until then, this is the model. And I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it. So the sun here enters Aries. It's already in Aries. It entered Aries 20 March. That was today, about 10:30 a.m. in Central Europe. So it's already there in Aries. And you can see, let's just go ahead and punch into the chart. Here it is. The sun is right now. This is the clock in solar fire. It gives us that exact clock. You can see the sun has just entered Aries, right in that first degree of Aries. It's the wonderful Astrological New Year today, International Astrology Day. Happy International Astrology Day. Happy New Year to you, wherever you are in the world. This is what we celebrate as the beginning of the cycle. And in the Northern Hemisphere, this is when there's longer days than nights. So it's kind of like this sun is now stronger. The daytime is now stronger than the nighttime. So that's, in a way, the beginning, let's say, of this very strong period of the sun for the next 6 months until the Libra ingress, when the nights will become longer than the days. Anytime we think about the sun or a planet or an ingress, it's good to start with the natural significations of that planet. And in this case, to help us understand what's happening, how this shift may impact us. And in this case, the sun is things like assertiveness, autonomy, individualism, selfhood, awareness, larger awareness, the sense of the knower that can see and witness things, as opposed to the specific mental games that we might reserve for Mercury. But this is the awareness and the self. And sometimes we even think about autonomy here with the sun, how we kind of operate. Remember, Leo, the sign of the sun, rules is opposite Aquarius, Saturn, and that collective energy and that kind of group top-down structure that we're all a part of. So there's this dance with the sun and individualism, and then the collective Saturn. And I just think I'm meditating here as the sun gets strong. Aries is the sign of the sun's exaltation, so it's celebrated here. It's raised up in terms of its power. I think about how our individual selves, we're units of individualism inside of our bodies, minds, and souls, and our perceivers. We can choose things. We can make a choice. We can say no against the backdrop of maybe a collective, idea set. So there's like groupthink, and then there's the individual. And each individual is sort of consenting to be a part of a collective. The collectives are made up of individuals, hopefully consenting from a place of power to join those collectives. And when you have strong individuals through consent making a collective, it just empowers everything. The Saturn gets strong and the sun gets strong. But here, I think, is the time and maybe our sense of identity and self has an opportunity to be empowered. And maybe that's renegotiating, agreements for groups you're involved in, or that is asking for your needs to be met. This might be a time to do that as the sun is strong. So let me just keep going here. I think it's a wonderful time because let's just look at the chart here. The sun is, for the first time since 2017, this Aries ingress does not have Saturn in Capricorn. And that's a sign-based square. When Saturn is in earlier position, earlier in zodiacal order, making an overcoming square on the sun, it really gives Saturn power over this Aries period and this Aries ingress. And remember, the Aries ingress sets the tone for the whole year. So we've had 2018, 2019, 2023 years with Saturn overcoming the sun during the Aries ingress, setting the tone for restriction and maybe more Saturnian times. And of course, that came to full fruition in 2020 when the sun, when we saw what happened in the world, the most Saturnian style times I've ever seen in my lifetime that I think probably any of us have ever seen from a collective perspective. But this year it's great because we have a sextile here. So the Saturn sextile, I think, takes some of the pressure off this next year. Maybe there will be some loosening up with this. Maybe this portends that some of the restrictions are going to loosen up, particularly in the summer. Remember, the summer, Jupiter will come into Pisces in May. And so that might be what this is about, kind of some freeing up into this new reality that we're in. And that's what I think is the theme here, the so-called new normal, they're saying. This might be now, I like having a powerful sun in this Aries ingress because it means that maybe we're finally adjusted in a way. We've accepted the reality and the changes. And now we can kind of figure out who we are against the backdrop of this massive collective shift. So I think that's a real opportunity this whole year, but in particular this Aries season with the sun so powerful. And check out Mars. Look where Mars is. Mars rules Aries by domicile, and Mars is in a sextile position, and Mars will be in Gemini during the whole of the sun's move through Aries. So it has that supportive aspect from Mars. And this is one of the best aspects you want to have with Mars, the sextile or the trine, because Mars can still support, but it's in those easygoing geometric relationships. So you don't have a dynamic angular operation with Mars, which can be sometimes really destabilizing or energizing or difficult. We don't have that here. We have the supportive sextile. And so that's lovely in terms of this sun's transit through Aries. And remember, Mars is quite strong in Gemini, but then it comes to Cancer and then Leo. In Cancer, it's in its sign of fall, so Mars may struggle there. And then in Leo, it's opposing Saturn, and that could be a challenge for our martial energy. So we really don't get as good of a Mars as the current Mars until maybe Mars hits Virgo way later in the year, in the late summer, early fall. We'll have that Virgo Mars. And so it's nice that Mars is as good as it'll be for a while the sun is in Aries and it's making that sextile and receiving the sun. So the one thing I want to point out during Aries season, which is useful now, the domicile tree is going to change if we just move the planets forward in time. So in early April, you see that Mercury and Mars will be in a mutual reception. And what that does is it means that Saturn isn't the sole dispositor anymore. I think that'll be a big moment for us energetically to just feel, okay, this isn't so Saturnian anymore. The new normal is loosening up. I know my place. I know what I'm doing. I know that my sun is intact. And now I can maneuver with Mercury and Mars. This is a great planning aspect here. With Mercury being thinking and forethought and Mars being action. Sometimes when these come together, it's dynamic planning for action and even acting using Mercury. So that's not a specific election, mind you, but this is a supportive relationship, I believe, just energetically, again, with that domicile tree. The other thing I want to mention, and this is during Aries season, so I'm kind of talking about a few things of the high level features of Aries season in this video. Check out what happens with Mercury and Venus during the sun's move here. So tomorrow, from when I'm recording this video, Venus enters Aries, and I'll talk more about that Venus Aries meeting in the first decan of Aries next week. I'm gonna do another whole separate video on that. But check out what happens here. So now Venus and the sun meet, but then Mercury enters Aries on April 4th, like I said. But by the time the sun comes into Taurus, it will have a moment again alone in Aries. It's a really cool feature that Mercury and Venus enter after the sun, but leave before the sun. So the sun is traveling with Venus and Mercury almost this whole time in Aries. and mixing here with its energies. So we can think about Venus being supportive in a way, though Venus is in its sign of exile. It's a benefic planet. It can be there with the sun, adding its energy to the sun. The other thing is the other benefic planet, Jupiter, makes an overcoming sextile from Aquarius. And this is one transit I was pointing out on Twitter that I think is going to be a real highlight transit of this Aries season. I encourage everybody to just watch for this new moon in Aries that's coming up, because you see here 1, 2, 3, you have all 7 traditional planets in a sextile posture to each other. It's a very, very supportive, energetic sextiles and trines. So my delineation for this is that auspicious flow as we get into spring and as we come out of this winter, this difficult Aquarian period earlier in February. There's going to be a real flow here in April as we can start opening up and getting into the world and functioning within the new restrictions or rules, or, it's different everywhere. So maybe there's openings that are coming. Winter, sun can decrease respiratory illness. So I think there will be openings this summer, and people will be able to get out to a certain extent. And maybe this is part of that initial phase forward for that summer in 2021, with Jupiter entering Pisces for 3 months and giving us real opportunities for comfort, growth, hope, abundance, satisfaction, happiness. This is a very, this 12th April 2021 new moon in Aries is a real preview, I think, of some of the great astrology coming this year and actually into the next few years. I'll show you this one transit. This is, let's see, where is this? Actually, I'm not going to do that. There's a time later in the decade where you have all of the outer planets here in these same signs, except Jupiter is in Leo. And they make a similar trine and sextile energetic with the Barbeau planets. That's Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune. Those 5 will assume a very similar position as this particular arrangement in the same signs, except you have, again, Jupiter and Leo. So I think we're getting here to like the baby steps for how this decade will be able to unfold in a powerful way and in a potent way, like I said. So, and you'll hear much more about that from me and other astrologers. This is like the sextile transit of 2026 is when I think it locks in finally, and where we'll explode out of the gate. Actually, let's just, I've been hinting at it. Look, I can just punch it up here. I don't want to withhold. And let me get my outer planets here. Just bear with me. So you can see this is, actually I'll do pure outers, because that with Pluto, that is the actually outers. So there we go. And you can see it here, April 2026. So Jupiter is in Cancer then. So it's actually, I believe, earlier than that. Excuse me. It's in 2025. That's days. Let me go weeks. So this kind of video you see, like normally in my videos, I edit this stuff out and I do a lot of this work before. But this style of the kind of free form, more just recording on the fly academic approach without heavy editing, I think lends itself to more of a flexible way to teach and look at transits. So here we go. Actually, I guess we missed that. We go 4 days. So there's Jupiter. That sextile is now separating. Give me 1 second. So Taurus. There we go. There we go. I'm actually going to edit all this out, I think. Here it was, right here, right here. So I wanted it out. I found it. So look at this. Uranus in Gemini, Jupiter. This is 15th July 2026. You see the sextile trine relationship, Pluto and Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini, Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So it's very similar, actually, except then you get that Jupiter to sweeten and make another trine and another sextile. Of course, Jupiter is opposing Pluto in this chart. But this is July 15th, 2026. They say this might be when we have that roaring 20s really hitting. But if we go back to this Aries season and we just check it out again with this transit I'm referring to in Aries season, I think it's a preview, this new moon in Aries. I think it's a real preview of those roaring 20s that will kick in later in the decade. And I'm looking very much forward to just kind of being with the energy this moment. You see, there's the sextiles. So, okay, let me just keep pushing ahead here. So I think that's it. That's the video. I'm going to end it here. I will talk again about Venus's entry into Aries, which will come up tomorrow. I'm not going to do a video on that till mid-week, probably next week, just to capture that Venus in the heart of the sun, because it's very important for Venus's cycle. It's that the conjunction. It's not the inferior, it's the greater conjunction. There's another term for that. But Venus will be ending now. It's winding down its cycle. And then when Venus is that evening star and goes retrograde and then enters the underworld, we have the birth of that inferior conjunction, that new birth of Venus. Then Venus is born in the morning. But it's still important for the cycles. And there's a lot to say about Venus in Aries and Mars with the sun and that mix of fiery Venusian energy. So look for that video later in the week. Thanks for listening. I hope you like the new format. And visit my website, sjanderson144.com. You can schedule readings with me there. I look forward to reading for you, tarot and astrology readings. Have a wonderful Aries season and very enjoyable first week of Aries season coming up this week. Talk soon.